The sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution. Yeah, we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's getting cleaned out real well. Pace car's off, kick some ass.
There's the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. Nice and solid. Take care of yourself.
Three wide.
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble.
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Watkins Glen International for race number 18 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. It is the Cheeze-It 355 here in Watkins Glen. This is our final road course race of the season. And then the final three races of the points paying season of the final 3 points paying races, 5 overall. Because we still have to make up Charlotte and Pocono, which are going to be non-points paying races. The rest will be ovals, of course. And I'm honestly very excited to see what our last road course race of the year is going to hold, because there's a lot of uncertainty, because track position here at Watkins Glen, or even what we saw at Coda, even Sonoma, track position is everything. It is everything. If you're starting up front, there's a chance you're gonna have yourself a pretty good day. Pit strategy is going to be another thing to look out for here. If you're making the right calls on pit road, if you're getting out in front of the field every single time and managing to maintain or retain that top 5 position or even that race lead, then chances are you're gonna come out on top. So this is all going to be not just endurance, but also a race of strategy and also track position. Those are really going to be the biggest things to really look out for in a race like Watkins Glen. So I was a little lazy when it came down to getting the graphics all set up. So we're basically going to half-ass it, if you will. And we're just going to show you the point standings right here from the Google Sheets file, as you can see here. Terry Walker manages to hold on to that points lead just by 2 points over Kyle Craven. Skylar Taylor jumps up to 3rd in the point standings with that tiebreaker that Google Sheets physics likes to do here. So Russell Blaze would get kicked back to 4th. Emily Anderson moves up to 5th with Stephen Cologne in 6th. Then Zachary Fitzwater, 7th in the point standings with 359 points to his name. Then it's Ryan Little with 348, Roberto Crown Jr. 9th with 336 points, and then Reagan Whitlock with 317. Here's a look at the rest of your point standings right here on your screen. And Noah Clifton, which, by the way, who was towards right around top 30 in the point standings, well, look where he's at now, currently 17th with 293 points to his name. So that win at Atlanta definitely helped him out it definitely did wonders for him as far as turning his season around. So we'll just have to see if he can keep that momentum up for the final 3 points paying races of the year. So I'm honestly kind of excited to see how this all goes down for Noah Clifton. We're going to take a look at your starting lineup right here. As you can see, Wayne Lopez in car number 1. He's going to be starting at position number 1 along with Zachary Taylor on the lining to Lopez's left side. Then you have Bruno Diacomo, Eric Monaco making up row 2, Ryan Gundillo, Russell Blaze, who we talked about, fourth in the standings. He lines up in row number 3. Roberto Crown Jr., Kyle Craven make up the 4th row. Val Moscow and Noah Clifton make up row number 5. Then you see Perez, Stapleton, row 6, Rowe and Wyatt Walker, row 7. Steidel DeFeo in row 8. Rose and Valkyrie Atikian, row 9. Then Caleb Rose, Andrew Miller, that's your top 20. Then it's Parton, Ramsey, Fitzwater, Fox, Taylor, Bonsignor, Crampton, Whitlock, Terry Walker, and Aaron Abel, your top 30. And then Anderson, Holt, Phillips, Dorn, Moore, Abby Walker, Sebastian Vaughn, Sustry, Cologne, Little, Marsh, and Janiah Hill makes up the field in the caboose. So 45 laps of action here at the Watkins Glen International. This is our last road course race of the season. 4 races left currently as of right now before we decide a champion at Homestead Miami on November 1st. But after tonight, there'll be 3 races to go. It's going to be very fun. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing who comes out on top in this race, and I hope you guys are too. 45 laps of action. It's time to get things going. Drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up, but in order to get these 42 cars rolling, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is. Engines have been fired. Pace car is rolling off, and so are these 42 competitors. It'll be one full pace lap before we go green flag racing, and we want to remind everybody that there are going to be no cautions. Yellow flags have been turned off for the duration of this race to ensure the full distance without a load of interruptions. But tonight should be a pretty good one here at the Watkins Glen International. A very high-speed road course with a lot of the turns, well, mainly turning right. A lot, I mean, obviously, racing itself, especially when it comes to NASCAR, gets a lot of slack for having a bunch of left turns. Well, might as those doubters, those naysayers might as well just go ahead and eat their words, because we got road courses and my gosh, we're turning right here at Watkins Glen International. And that's usually the turn that's sort of dominates this road course, is right hand turns. But it should be pretty fun nonetheless. Here at the Watkins Glen International, our last road course race of the season. And this is going to be a pretty busy month heading into November, because we have Ricky Raceway coming up on October 18th. October 25th, we'll be at the Phoenix Raceway. November 1st, we'll be at the Homestead Miami Speedway to decide the championship. And then afterwards, the final 2 overall races will be made up. Charlotte and Pocono, both of which will be non-points paying races, because by the time we wrap up with Homestead, the points would already be locked up and we would already know our champion. Pace car is rolling off. This puts the field in the hands of Wayne Lopez and Zachary Taylor. Green flag is already out, and we're racing at Watkins Glen. Getting pretty messy back there right out of the gate. They are 3 wide as Wayne Lopez, oh no, gets turned by Taylor. Got turned by Zachary Taylor. First turn, first lap, and he is out of here. Big trouble early for Wayne Lopez, our pole sitter. You have got to be absolutely kidding me. Zachary Taylor just turned the pole sitter on the exit of turn 1. And here he is. He is marred back quite a ways after starting in the second position. I would have to believe he's fallen just outside of the top 20 because of that. So your current race leader coming around to complete lap number 1, that would be the number 31 of Eric Monaco. He leads the first lap of action. Russell Blaze moves up into second. Kyle Craven third. Bruno Diacomo in fourth. Then it's Noah Clifton completing the top 5. Our winner from Atlanta on September 19th. Then it's Gundillo, Crown, Moscow, Stapleton, and Wyatt Walker rounding out your top 10 to kick things off here in Watkins Glen. What a crazy, wild, dramatic start to this race. Right out of the gate, for those that are tuning in, Wayne Lopez, who started on the pole, Zachary Taylor, who lined up on the outside. Coming out of turn number 1, I would have to believe Lopez tried to squeeze up in front of Taylor, and Taylor caught him in the left rear quarter panel and managed to turn Lopez right into the tire barriers. And here's the beaten and battered number 1 machine, whom unfortunately is not going to go to victory lane at the very same place where he got his first ever WRLA win, overall WRLA win, when the McDonald's Series was racing back in 2017. Monaco continues to show the way. Let's take a look a little bit further back. We got a side-by-side battle here between Stapleton and Moscow. Advantage 33. Coming up the hill, now advantage goes to Nathan Stapleton for the brief second. And now it comes back to Moscow, as Moscow's going to get around the 97 for the 8th position. Now that fight is on between Stapleton and Wyatt Walker as they come through the bus stop. Stapleton through the grass just a little bit, but he's able to maintain that 9th position. And now Wyatt Walker's going to fall outside of the top 10 because Braden Perez just managed to get around him on the outside. But I do believe this number 19 machine might be back on the attack here soon enough as they come down this straightaway, heading into turn number 6, coming into turn 7. Looks like Walker is going to tuck in behind the 88 of Perez, just outside of the top 10. So now Stapleton currently holding on to that 9th position. Braden Perez sneaks into 10th as everybody is now started to settle down into a single file rhythm, at least temporarily. I wouldn't make this permanent, at least 100%, because there is a pretty good chance, and I mean, there's always a good chance where the running order is going to get shaken up by the time we get to our first round of green flag pit stops, because of the fact that obviously there's always a chance that, you know, we could see some different strategy calls take place here throughout this race. So somebody in 5th place, maybe say Noah Clifton, for instance, his crew could have a whole different call compared to everybody else and if he manages to do it right, might be able to get out ahead of the rest of the other drivers and maybe be en route to get his 2nd win of the season. But there's a lot of mystery as of right now as to what's going to happen here in these next 40 laps, or at least 41 laps, as 4 laps have been complete. Wayne Lopez, the only retiree in this race, he has taken his car behind the wall. He is officially done for the day. This nice little overview look of Watkins Glen International, as all the cars just whiz right on by. Up front, challenge for the lead is on. Here comes Kyle Craven to the inside of Eric Monaco. A little bit of contact there between the two, as Craven's going to lose a little bit of momentum there. Blaze getting around, trying to get by 2nd place in the point standings around the outside. Not able to do so here, so Blaze is going to tuck back in the 3rd position. Heading through turn 6, coming into turn 7. Here he goes again. Craven trying it around the outside, but he lost a lot of momentum right there. And Monaco still holding on to that top position. Last week's winner, or a couple weeks ago, September 19th winner, Noah Clifton. Our Atlanta winner, still sitting in the 5th position. Here's Wyatt Walker yet again, just outside of the top 10. Stapleton, who's been on a roll as of recently, got himself a good top 10 finish at Atlanta a couple weeks ago. This is all while one of his cars managed to go to victory lane back at Atlanta, obviously, as we mentioned, with Noah Clifton. But Stapleton, of course, we didn't give him enough credit where it was due. He managed to salvage a good top 10 finish. And now there's a chance where he might be able to do it again here at Watkins Glen. There's Michael DeFeo trying to fight it out here with Wyatt Walker. This would be for the 11th position. And Walker managing to hold on around the right-hand side of DeFeo's car. Oh, look at Alexander Rowe. He's trying to make it 3 wide. Heading down into turn 1. Walker has to give way to DeFeo, but Rowe already trying to get on the attack here. Here's Nia Steidl, Valkyrie Atikian fighting it out for position. This would be for 14th. Atikian is currently scored in 14th, but Steidl definitely wants it, but is not able to succeed in this run right here. Here comes Jerry Rose down to the inside. This would be the fight for the 15th position, but focusing up at the front of the field, Monaco still holds on to that top position. Bruno Giacomo looks like he made a mistake. And through to 4th is the 99 of Noah Clifton. Looks like Craven also fell back to the 3rd position as Russell Blaze now moves up to 2nd. It might have something to say for this number 31 machine if he's able to make a run for this race lead. Remember, Blaze, out of all the other cars, with the exception of Kyle Craven, that are at least within arm's reach of one another when it comes to the championship, you got Terry Walker, of course. He's currently running in the 27th position, so right now things are not looking too good for him in this race. Blaze is currently 4th, tied with Skylar Taylor with 381 points. There's a 12 points difference between 3rd and 4th, and as well as the points leader. So there is a very good chance that we could see Blaze go to victory lane here if he's able to nail down the strategy calls here when it comes to pit road and also try to maintain the track position that he currently has. He might get himself a very crucial 2nd win of the year, which would enable him to take over the points lead after tonight. So very good possibility that we could see that happen. Eight laps complete here at the Watkins Glen International. For those that are just now tuning in, we only have one retiree in this race, that being Wayne Lopez, who started on the pole and had Zachary Taylor line up alongside him. And unfortunately, coming out of turn 1 on lap 1, whoa, hold up, a little bit of contact here as Blaze just absolutely bulldozes his way by the 31 of Eric Monaco, new race leader. It's Russell Blaze in the 69. That was a pretty aggressive move that Blaze just put on the 31 of Monaco there. I mean, that's just to take the lead. Now, if you remember 2 weeks ago, Blaze was actually leading the race and made some contact with Bobby Maguire late in the going, who Maguire, keep in mind, just recently had made his pit stop, so he came back out on track. So Blaze ended up getting into the back of him, and that's what ultimately took Blaze out of contention for the win. That would have given him the points lead. But 2 weeks later, Blaze has ensured that he is good to go and that he has put it behind him, and that I'll be honest, I have a hard time believing that, as looks like Andrew Ramsey. I'm pretty sure he was one of those cars that went around on the exit of turn 1, because I did see an extra set of skid marks and then a little bit of dust that got kicked up. So I would have to believe that Andrew Ramsey definitely might have gotten turned coming out of turn number 1. But as we just saw there, I mean, obviously, Ramsey had a little bit of better luck than what Lopez did, so he's able to continue. Lopez is not. But as far as Blaze's case, I have a hard time believing that he's put all that happened at Atlanta behind him, because the way that he just bulldozed his way by Monaco definitely tells a little bit of a different story. The way that he's racing right now is telling a little bit of a different story. This is a guy who before he won at Nashville, he had the car that had a good amount of speed consistently week in and week out. And he got a good amount of top 5s and top 10s consistently throughout the year, but he was just so hungry for that race win. Finally got it at Nashville. And then at that point, that put him right in the catbird seat for this championship fight, essentially. He had been holding on right around top 5 in the point standings since he won at Nashville. Even prior to that, he had essentially worked his way up to this particular point, and now Blaze is in a pretty good position to take the points lead away if all goes according to plan. 11 laps complete. Take a look further in the back. There's Nathan Stapleton in the 97 fighting it out with Val Moscow. That's the fight for the 8th position. So far, Stapleton has it. Moscow's trying to get it back here. Looks like he might be able to have the advantage coming out of turn number 1. Now heading up through the S's uphill. Turns 2 and 3 and coming up to turn 4. Ooh, a little bit of contact there between Moscow and Stapleton. That's going to really affect the momentum of the 97. And Perez right down to the inside. Now the outside. Whoa, Perez goes way wide to the corner here. And, just almost made some contact with Wyatt Walker. But thankfully, it didn't cause a crash. So we're still clean and green right now. And just as a reminder, cautions are turned off. They are disabled for this race. They are disabled for road courses, just to ensure obviously the pace of the race doesn't get slowed down by a number of unnecessary cautions. That's the last thing that we want when it comes to road courses. So about almost a third of the way done here at the Watkins Glen International. DeFeo manages to find himself inside of the top 10 for the first time tonight, trailing behind Nathan Stapleton. So this is DeFeo's first race back in a little while, actually. I don't remember the last time that we've seen DeFeo in a Pepsi Cup Series race, but the guy who started off the year with a load of speed kind of faded back a little bit throughout as the year went on, but it's good to see Michael DeFeo back behind the wheel of a Pepsi Cup car and here in this race, currently running in the 10th position, so not too bad for the number 60 team. Looking up over at the front of the field, things got just a tad bit antsy between the top 4. Just a tad bit antsy. But so far, everything is pretty much clean right now at the front of the field. Obviously, Russell Blaze managed to wrestle the lead away from Eric Monaco. I think about 9 laps into the event. 9 or 10 laps in. One or the other. Here's Steidl in the number 6 machine, currently sitting in the 17th spot. Naya, if we recall watching your interview back, Naya was definitely a little disappointed with the result that she had back in Atlanta because she felt she needed to do better because she was not running in the top 10 running order. She came pretty close to starting top 10. She started about 13th or 4th, no, about 15th in this race, climbed up to 13th, and now she's back here in the 17th position. So there's still another 2/3 of the way through this race, and here we go. Pit stops are getting ready to start here as Zachary Taylor brings his car to pit road. But going back to the Steidl thought, there's still a good chance where Steidl could come home with a top 10 finish here tonight. Just got to make sure that we nailed the pit strategies. See Janiah Hill go by in the number 7, currently running in the 38th position, so not too good of a day here for the McGuire Motorsports entry of Janiah Hill. Blaze getting a pretty good gap here, 2/3 of a second over Eric Monaco, but now you have to wonder exactly when these guys are going to come on in and make their pit stops. I would have to believe it would be this lap. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. Oh, Monaco comes in. Blaze is going to stay out, along with a huge chunk of other cars. There's points leader Terry Walker. Right now, Walker finds himself running 26th. He's going to pick up another spot here because of the 31 making his pit stop. So right now, it's just one car at a time currently making their pit cycles, at least starting their pit cycles. But it's a very slow and very settled start, if you will. It's kind of like a calm before the storm here. Blaze just about 1 1/3 seconds ahead of the 28 of Kyle Craven, runner up in the point standings right now. So there's a good chance that everybody here, with the exception of Terry Walker, is going to leave here with a pretty good day. That is if everything goes according to plan. So especially for Russell Blaze, because we all know he wants that elusive second win of the season. The one that's actually going to get him in the points lead and keep him in this championship fight. And here we go. The pit strategy is really starting to get pretty split here. Blaze is in, along with Kyle Craven, Bruno Giacomo, Gundillo, Stapleton. I saw Steidl in. Both of the Roses are in. Caleb and Jerry. Perez, Valkyrie Atikian, points leader Terry Walker. There's Travis Crampton. He is in the pits. Anderson, CG Hall, Rogel Dorn, and others. They're on the pit lane right now. This gives the top position to Noah Clifton temporarily, but I would have to imagine that the rest of these other cars that stayed out, they're going to make their way down pit road. And who would come out as the race leader? That is going to be the question that's going to be on my mind, and that probably is going to be on the minds of everybody else currently watching this. So as they come out of turn number 7 this time by, here goes Noah Clifton, Crown, Moscow, DeFeo, Wyatt Walker, Rowe, Miller, Fitzy, Parton, Taylor, Fox, Whitlock, practically the rest of the field coming on down. Hold up. A couple other cars staying out. That would be Quentin Moore, excuse me, and the 18 of Abby Walker. So Abby is going to stay out, along with the 04 of Moore. Hill is in, along with Campbell, Marsh, and others, and this right here would more than likely be the fight for the race lead. Eric Monaco to the inside of Russell Blaze to take it back. But now let's see what the field rejoining the racetrack is going to look like, at least from this chunk of cars that are coming out. So it looks like Monaco is going to get out ahead of, I believe that's Roberto Crown Jr. to retain the race lead. Clifton right now is currently being scored as the race leader, but it was Crown that got out ahead of Clifton, so I would definitely 100% say that Eric Monaco will take back the race lead here in the Cheeze-It 355 at Watkins Glen International. Blaze would then get kicked back to second, and then Kyle Craven would be scored third. But we'll just have to wait and see what the official top 10 running order is going to look like here once they cross the stripe this time by. As they come out of turn number 7, heading back across the start-finish line, and I would have to believe now, it is pretty much official at this point, because yet Abby Walker and Quentin Moore score themselves as 1-2 when they came through the pits. But now with Monaco getting around both of them and the rest of the other drivers that made their pit stops already, your top 10 would more than likely look like this. Monaco the leader, Blaze in second, Kyle Craven third, Bruno Giacomo would be fourth. Then fifth would be the 51 of Ryan Gondillo. Sixth would be Roberto Crown Jr. Seventh would be Nathan Stapleton because he got out ahead. He just got by his own team of Noah Clifton, who would be scored eighth. Then Michael DeFeo would be ninth, and Valkyrie Atikian would be shown inside of the top 10 for the first time here tonight. Again, this would all be once the field cycles back around, because remember, they just passed Abby Walker and Quentin Moore, whom were both in the pit stalls. Another car with a major amount of trouble, that would be the 54 Sebastian Vaughn. Vaughn currently sitting in the pits. Must be a pretty moderate mechanical issue that they had definitely taken their time with, and now they're going to start going to work on replacing the tires on this Monster Energy Mustang. So now Vaughn would more than likely go just, well, now 4 laps down. Vaughn is down and away. But Sebastian Vaughn is 1,000,000% now out of contention to win this race. Closing in on the halfway mark of the Cheeze-It 355 here at Watkins Glen, the 18th race of the Pepsi Cup Series season. After tonight, there'll be 3 races left. In the 3 points paying races left, specifically 5 overall. Because remember, our championship race is still going to be at Homestead Miami Speedway. That's where we're going to be crowning our 2025 champion. And then the 2 makeup races will be the Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on Veterans Day, November 11th. And then on Saturday, November 15th, that will be Pocono. Down to the inside now. Yeah, down to the inside, going through the right-hand turn. That's Russell Blaze trying to take the lead back, and he successfully does it across just before they get to the bus stop. So Blaze goes back to the point. Craven just chilling out in third. Pretty much everybody right now is kind of spread out and just minding their own P's and Q's at this particular time. But currently, yeah, everybody right now is back into single file formation. Terry Walker has now found himself moving up a few more positions. He's now up to 22nd. So he has moved up the running order after starting in 28th, but it's definitely not going to be enough if he still wants to retain the points lead. So he's going to have to really pull through on this next pit stop, which more than likely is going to be the last one of the day. if he is ever going to want to have a chance of, retaining the points lead, because that's looking very, 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 very grim for Terry Walker, because you got Russell Blaze 4th in the standings when it comes to points. He's leading this race, and there's probably a pretty decent chance that either him or Eric Monaco are going to pick up those 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. And he better hope and pray, Walker, that is, that Blaze does not pick up those 5 bonus points, because if that's the case, that obviously is not going to mean good news for the rest of the field, including Terry Walker, when it comes to points, because if Blaze were to win this race, I mean, that points gap could be a pretty significant amount, maybe a 15 to 20 point lead, possibly between himself, Blaze, and Kyle Craven, who currently is running 2nd in the standings. But there's still a good chance that Kyle Craven could come out with the points lead, despite him not leading a lap, possibly. Either that, or I would definitely have to say, yeah, no, Craven would probably still maintain 2nd in the point standings. Still running 3rd on the racetrack right now. We do have to definitely give our props here to the number 95 team of Bruno Diacomo, currently running in 4th. Appalachia Motorsports, they had a very abysmal start to the 2025 season, but they fought back, and at this juncture of the season, whether it be Diacomo, whether it be Caleb Rose, they have done absolutely exceptionally well. And especially when you look at Caleb Rose, Caleb had been running just about at the bottom of the points bracket, about dead last in the standings, and now he's about top 20. Bruno Diacomo, performance-wise, has actually been doing a very good job of remaining consistent, getting those top 5s and top 10s whenever he can get them. And because of that, he manages to move himself back up inside, manages to, progress his way up through the point standings, as we saw Kyle Craven make the pass on Eric Monaco to move up into the 2nd position. But that's the thing. I mean, Bruno Diacomo, if we take a look at our point standings here that coming into this race, Diacomo finds himself 29th in the points right now. Caleb Rose, 28th, but you still can't take away the fact that Caleb Rose, at one point, was inside of the top 20 in the point standings. That's the highest that he had been all season. But I'm very excited to see what the rest of the season is going to hold for the 59 and 95 teams, the Appalachia Motorsports, that being Caleb Rose and also Bruno Diacomo. Just a couple weeks ago, obviously McGuire Motorsports, they had both cars make the show. Of course, McGuire didn't have the best of results. Janiah Hill, I'd probably say a similar result there, because we interviewed both, and especially Janiah Hill. Janiah said that she expected a lot more out of herself going into that event. But as we can see here, she made this race, and currently right now she is still running in the 38th position after starting in the caboose. So today not looking so good here for Janiah Hill, but hopefully she's able to make Ricky Raceway in a couple weeks time when we go out of the country into Canada. And hopefully, maybe, just maybe, and hopefully we see both McGuire Motorsports cars back at the racetrack here pretty soon. They are going full time in 2026, so that's going to be a pretty big positive for the team, which means they'll have a lot more opportunities, to go out and win races and perform. This season, it's a little bit more of a learning season for the both of them. Got a fight going on here. Looks like that's for the 7th position. Noah Clifton trying to take it away from his boss, Nathan Stapleton. We also have to give our flowers here to Nathan Stapleton here in this 97 team, because this late in the season, absolutely doing a fantastic job running consistently right around inside of the top 10. I'd say they've been doing a pretty fantastic job, you know, throughout the later stages of the year. Finally, actually getting those results that Stapleton had been looking for himself. Because there have been races where he would run top 5, top 10, but unfortunately, the results that he'd get would not back up the performances that he has been able to put together. So to see Stapleton in this particular position, especially after running as well as he did back at Atlanta 2 weeks ago, I've got some pretty good confidence that Stapleton just might win a race before this season is said and done. Got some dirt that got kicked up over here. I would have to believe that might have been from Andrew Ramsey, possibly botching the bus stop. But Ramsey currently running 40th right now, so still just barely on the tail end of the lead lap. Oh, Diacomo actually moved up to third. I didn't even notice that. Bruno Diacomo just moved up to third. Monaco gets kicked back to fourth. Ryan Gundillo currently scored in the 5th position. And Clifton, after kind of botching the bus stop on that last lap, that enabled Michael DeFeo to move up to the 8th position. So DeFeo on the move as we are just past the halfway mark, coming up to the 2/3 of the way through the Cheeze-It 355 here at Watkins Glen. Gonna go up here to the front of the field. How about this? Bruno Diacomo driving like a man on a mission right now. He just moved up to the 2nd position. He got around Kyle Craven, I would have to say with ease, if you will, heading up the hill through the S's. And now he's gonna set his sights on the number 69 of Russell Blaze to try to take the lead away. And he could more than likely play spoiler to Blaze's party. That is, if he is able to keep this speed up. Well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens here in these final 17 laps coming up. So 17 to go in the Cheeze-It 355 here at Watkins Glen. This is a little bit of a quick race, if you will. Sort of like a sprint. Sort of like a sprint, if you will. Ryan Little, a driver whom I actually do believe is top 10 in the points standings. This is definitely not the performance that he had been looking for whatsoever. Currently running 39th on the board right now. I can't even speak because I'm stuttering more than I ever have in quite some time. Currently 8th in the points standings with 348 points to his name, and that's definitely not the result that Little has been wanting here for this race. Obviously, Janiyah Hill, same case for her. Definitely not where she wanted to find herself here, especially after starting in the caboose here for this race. Especially way off the pace, actually, from the rest of the other cars. Focusing up at the front of the field. 16 to go, and there's probably a good chance that we're going to have ourselves one final pit stop. The question is, so far, actually, no, nobody's come down pit road just yet. But Blaze still holding on to that top position as of right now. And Diacomo still watching on the back bumper, holding on to that 2nd position. 99 of Noah Clifton goes just a little bit wide there, going through, coming out of the bus stop and into turn number 5, hitting to turn 6 this time. A little bit of a fight breaking out over here. Well, I wouldn't say much of a fight, but it looked like Wyatt Walker just pulled out a line down on that little straightaway just before we come down to the front stretch. And here we go. A couple cars coming to pit road. That would be race leader Russell Blaze. He is in along with Ryan Gundillo to kick off our final round of green flag stops. Zachary Taylor is in the 85. And this is going to be pretty interesting to see if Blaze is actually going to be able to somehow find himself back inside of the top 5, especially since he came into the pits. He was amongst the first to come into the pits, actually. So I'm a little curious as to how that's going to unfold once we get into the later stages of this race. So that hands the lead over to Bruno Diacomo here in this 95. So he'll get a bonus point after leading this lap. And so now let's see. All right, here we go. Diacomo is in. Monaco stays out, along with Roberto Crown Jr. and quite a few others. Perez is in, along with Wyatt Walker. Steidl comes in. And man, all right, a good chunk of cars coming on in. So the pit strategies are just a little bit more split than what we saw at the beginning earlier in the race. Janiah Hill comes on in. And there's Blaze, who just gotten back up to speed. Monaco and Roberto Crown Jr. currently running 1-2 right now for Powerhouse Crown Racing. The next Powerhouse Crown car currently running in 5th with Val Moscow. But Monaco has also been putting on a pretty good performance, leading a good portion of this race, and chances are he might come out with the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. If he manages to find himself in the right spot, he could come out with the win. You never quite know. Especially in the later stages of this race, you just never really know. And he stays out for another lap while his boss, Crown, comes in along with the 60 of DeFeo. Clifton is in along with Moscow, as we mentioned a little bit ago. It looks like this is the rest of the field that's coming on in. Quentin Moore stays out. And we also know that Eric Monaco stayed out. But that should be the rest of the field that just came back out, that just came on into the pits. They've already made their pit stops. So now let's see if this pit cycle is actually going to work out for Russell Blaze. Remember, he was amongst the first of 2 other cars, Gundillo and Zachary Taylor, that came down to pit. And he's going to easily get by Roberto Crown Jr. And he's got himself a pretty sizable lead. A pretty sizable gap between himself and the 95 of Bruno Diacomo. A little bit of contact there between Bruno Diacomo, or not Bruno Diacomo, excuse me, Ryan Gundillo, and as well as the 28 of Kyle Craven. That probably, if all is correct here, that probably would have been for the 3rd spot. But my, oh my. I would have to believe that the 69 of Russell Blaze is going to come out with the race lead. If he is able to get by the 31 of Monaco, who's just now exiting the pits, that's going to be the case right here as they head into turn number 1. So your new race leader will once again be Russell Blaze in the 69, with Diacomo running in 2nd. Then Ryan Gundillo would be shown 3rd. Then in 4th would be Kyle Craven. Nathan Stapleton would complete the top 5. Then Roberto Crown Jr. would be 6th. Then in 7th would be Valkyrie Atikian. Michael DeFeo would be shown 8th. Noah Clifton would be 9th. And Braden Perez would be shown inside of the top 10. Once Blaze comes back around to score himself as the race leader, coming up to 10 laps of racing to go here at the Watkins Glen International. And indeed, that currently, hold up a second, Quentin Moore. Hold up a minute. Did Quentin Moore make his pit stop? I don't know if Quentin Moore made his pit stop, but he currently is shown as the race leader. He is 20 seconds ahead of the rest of the field right now. Wait a minute. I don't recall if Moore ended up making his pit stop. He might not have yet. But if he did, my goodness, what a strategy it would have been. And now he surrenders the race lead. So Quentin Moore comes on down. So now officially, the race lead will go over to Russell Blaze here in the 69. Officially here. Of course, he's got to make it across the stripe and get by the 04 of Quentin Moore. Remember, Moore and Blaze are both teammates for Durrani Racing Enterprises. And what a year I'd say it has been for Durrani Racing, because they have done an absolutely exceptional job all year this year. Of course, all three of their cars have gone to victory lane. I believe Andrew Ramsey might have botched again. Possibly, because there's more dust that just got kicked up, and there was an extra set of skid marks coming out of the pits. But going back to my thought here, Durrani Racing Enterprises just had themselves a spectacular year this year. Of course, all three of their cars have gone to victory lane. Quentin Moore finally getting his first Pepsi Cup win at Fontana ever since joining the series in 2017. Russell Blaze going to victory lane at Nashville, and Rogel Dorn winning the Southern 500, funny enough, over his own teammate of Russell Blaze, whom was still searching for his second win of the season at that time. But Blaze right now is in a pretty good position to officially score a very crucial second win of the year and definitely bounce back from what would have been a spectacular weekend in Atlanta had he not had that mishap with Bobby McGuire within 30 laps to go of that race. But he's shown as the race leader. And again, to recap your top 10 results currently, as of right now, your running order, that would be Russell Blaze leading the way. Then in second would be the 95 of Bruno Giacomo. Third is Ryan Gondillo, trying to hold off Kyle Craven, who sits in fourth. Then in fifth is the 31 of Eric Monaco. Roberto Crown Jr. running in seventh, as Stapleton actually completes the top five. Then it's Monaco sixth, Crown seventh, Valkyrie Atikian in eighth. Then in ninth is Michael DeFeo, and Noah Clifton currently rounds out your top 10 with 8 laps to go in the Cheeze-It 355 at the Glen. Fight for third is on as Kyle Craven trying to get to the inside. This time around, advantage 28. Moving the 51 up the racetrack just a little bit. And on through to third is Kyle Craven. Take a look a little bit further in the back. Stapleton trying to fend off two of Powerhouse Crown Racing cars right now. That's a pretty intense task, to say the least. Brayden Perez moves up to 10th, getting by Noah Clifton. Here's Wyatt Walker, having himself a pretty solid run. Currently scored in the 12th position right now. A little bit of right side damage, but those are the battle scars that the 19 has. As currently sustained in order to currently keep a top 15 run going for Wyatt Walker's team. Then you have Andrew Miller actually having himself a pretty good day today. Still running in the 13th position. There's Caleb Rose, the boss for Appalachia Motorsports right now, doing a fantastic job here in this event. Running in 14th. Third place in points. That's Skylar Taylor, currently running in the 16th position. They just got by Nia Steidel for the 16th spot, so that kicks Steidel back to 17th. Alex Bonsinger having himself a pretty good run here so far. Currently running in the 18th position as of right now. And points leader Terry Walker still finds himself in the 22nd spot. So there is a very good chance that that run that he's had as the points leader is going to come to an end after tonight. Because we have Russell Blaze leading the charge with 6 to go. And there's a pretty good chance that after he wins this race, that is if he's able to hold off Diacomo, that we could see a new points leader. I think regardless, we're going to see a new points leader, whether it be Blaze or Kyle Craven. But either way, we would still see Russell Blaze, or not Russell Blaze, excuse me, Terry Walker losing his points lead after today. Do apologize there, had a little bit of a phlegm buildup. But Diacomo is getting pretty aggressive here, coming to 5 to go. All over the back bumper of Russell Blaze here. Definitely was all over the back bumper of that 69 going through turn number 5. Now heading through turn 7. Still right there in that back bumper. But now let's see if he's going to cut low. He's going to try to cut low here. Down to the inside. Whoa, hold up. Hold up. We got ourselves a race on our hands. Diacomo trying to get to the inside of Russell Blaze. Now on the right-hand side. Blaze with the advantage here. Now goes back to Diacomo. So new race leader. It's Bruno Diacomo in the 95 machine trying to win it for Appalachia Motorsports. Oh my goodness, what a story it would be for Bruno Diacomo and Appalachia Motorsports if they went to victory lane. They just wrestled their way on by Russell Blaze. And now coming to 4 to go. This is actually going to be pretty interesting. So let's see if the 95 is going to be able to come home a winner. Opening up a pretty sizable gap here is Diacomo. 2/3 of a second right now over Blaze. And if you are Russell Blaze, you have to be thinking, I gotta get this lead back because I know if I win this race, it's definitely gonna be a pretty extensive points gap. Because obviously it would end with Blaze taking over the points lead. And Craven would still be in second after all that, but think about the points gap that Blaze would have over the 28 of Craven. That is if he were to win this race. But now he's going to try to do everything he can to try to catch back up and try to wrestle his way back around the 95. But so far, Diacomo is proving to be a little bit of a challenge here for Russell Blaze right now, at least trying to keep up with him because that gap has just grown just a little bit more. 3 to go here at the Glen. Almost 3/4 of a second now between the 95 and the 69. Still a pretty good race nonetheless as of right now. Crown. Oh boy! A little bit of contact there between the Powerhouse Crown teammates. Great save for both of them. And we keep it safe as of right now. Just think of how catastrophic it would have been if Eric Monaco got forced into the tire barriers in front of all these other cars. That would have been absolutely catastrophic. Probably would have caused a pile up there, a huge clog on the racetrack if all these drivers managed to pile up just before the hills up in the S's. Going up the hill, uphill that is. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Coming to 2 laps of racing to go here at the Watkins Glen International. And this would be something right here. If Bruno Giacomo is able to go to victory lane right now, he's got to hold off the 69 of Blaze for 2 more laps. Blaze managed to chip away at that lead a little bit. Now it's down to 2/3 of a second again. We're coming through the S's. I'd say regardless, whether or not if Giacomo is able to win this race or whether or not if Blaze is able to win this race, both have had really great points-paying days nonetheless, especially for Blaze, because he is going to come out with the points lead regardless of what happens. Terry Walker is definitely going to take a big hit after coming home in this 22nd position if he's not able to pick up any more spots, but such a great day of racing here at the Watkins Glen International. And some drivers definitely got the calls down, and some drivers definitely had the speed down. And as they come through turn number 7, a white flag flies. One final lap here at the Watkins Glen International. Giacomo leads it. Will he be leading coming back to the checkers? Let's find out. 0.4 of a second now between Giacomo and Blaze. Blaze is starting to eat away at that lead a little bit more as they come up the hill and through the S's one last time. Left-hander turn 3, right-hander turn 4. Heading down the back straightaway one more time and into the bus stop. No mistakes here. Very flawless between both of the drivers as they come through turn number 5. Down this short straight one more time. Blaze is going to have one more chance, possibly through the final corner, if Giacomo messes this up, which I believe is going to be slim to none. They come off of turn number 7. The deal is sealed. Bruno Giacomo is a WRLA Pepsi Cup Series winner. He gets it done at Watkins Glen. Blaze will come home in second. Pretty satisfied with that result, I would have to believe he is. He comes home in second regardless. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but you get what I mean. Kyle Craven comes home in third. Ryan Gundillo finishes in fourth. Nathan Stapleton keeping the momentum alive as he comes home inside of the top 5. Then it's Roberto Crown Jr. in 6th. Eric Monaco 7th. Then in 8th would be the 23 of Valkyrie Atikian. 9th will be Michael DeFeo. And completing your top 10, that will be the 88 of Braden Perez. A lot of damage to the 38 of Campbell Marsh. We are going to have to go back and review some incidents that happened throughout the race, but a huge congratulations to the 95 team of Bruno Giacomo and Appalachia Motorsports. They can finally call themselves winners in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. Great job, great performance amongst all these other drivers and all these other teams. From 11th on down to 28th, Janiah Hill actually recovered pretty significantly after starting in the caboose. 28th. So I'd say regardless, I'd say that that in my book, that would be a pretty good win. Just to come out on the other side and not have to come home in 38th. Instead, you could say you finished 28th, but still a pretty good learning curve here for Janiah Hill as, you know, obviously first trip to Watkins Glen usually can sometimes be a little bit rough. Then from 28th or 29th on down to 39th, everybody finished on the lead lap. The rest of the other drivers finished on the lead lap. So 1 lap down or more. Obviously, Campbell Marsh finished a lap down. Then Sebastian Vaughn finished 3 laps down. And Wayne Lopez was our only retiree in this race. So very tough break here for the number 1 team of Wayne Lopez, who started on the pole for this event and didn't even get to see more than 1 lap. So with that said, ladies and gents, let's go back and review all the incidents that happened here in this race. We're going to go back and review the lap 1 crash, obviously between Wayne Lopez and Zachary Taylor. But that was just absolutely wild of what we just witnessed on the very first lap of action here at the Watkins Glen. I mean, like, just look at this. Hold up. Actually, hold up. Hold up. I kind of messed that up. But just look at this. This is coming to the green flag. This is coming to the green flag. This is just after they took the green. And just watch this. We're going to use the aerial view for this one. Heading into turn number 1. And it looks like Lopez gets the advantage and also kind of door slams into the 85 of Taylor just a little bit. And then tries to clear up. And Taylor, of course, was holding his position. And then huge whammo right over here, obviously, with the 1 of Lopez. Bam, into the tire barriers. Pretty hard right there. And the back end of his car gets lodged into the tire barriers. Zachary Taylor wound up losing a lot of track position because of that incident that he had with Lopez. Just a tough break. A tough break regardless for both Zachary Taylor and Wayne Lopez. Started on the front row here for this race and didn't even get a top 5, not even a top 10. I wouldn't even believe a top 20. Obviously for Lopez, he wound up finishing. He started at the top of the leaderboard and then wound up finishing at the bottom of the leaderboard. So he went a full 180 in the running order. So that's honestly a very tough break there for Wayne Lopez. Now let's go back and review what happened to Andrew Ramsey. I would have to believe it was Ramsey that wound up I wouldn't say lost control of his car, but there was somebody else that wound up going for a little loop, coming out of turn 1. And I would have to believe we might have just found our culprit. We did indeed find the culprit, and pretty interesting that we kind of talked about Janiah Hill. Oh, here she is. This is a fight between herself and Ryan Little. Looks like Little gets the advantage here coming through turn 1, and Janiah obviously was a little frustrated with that, I would have to believe, and just runs right into the back of the 27 and just, well, turns him around and then in the process collects herself. Looks like both cars were just magnetized to one another, if you will. And, well, Hill was able to get the better end of it. She was able to take off, but obviously it took a little bit longer for Ryan Little to, it took a little bit longer for Ryan Little to get his car refired and pointed back into the right direction. Let's go ahead and look at this one more time in real speed. I'm going way too far back. But you see it right here. So it was not for Andrew Ramsey because Ramsey came into the pits pretty early, but it was for this, of course. You know, I can't 100% blame Janiah here for obviously for kind of being a little bit frustrated because she started in the back. She wasn't having herself a good race to start off anyway. So I can't 100% blame her there. But obviously that wouldn't have made Ryan Little any happier nonetheless. But there was one more set of skid marks that popped up later in the going. So let's go ahead and find out about those skid marks that popped up. I would have that would definitely say very, very late in the going. This is around this is around the time when the last round of green flag pit stops were taking place. So we're gonna have to go back quite a ways. I'd have to imagine we'd have to go back quite a ways. Because what lap are we on right now? So lap 32. And again, I probably would have to say it definitely had to have been. I'm still doing that extensive research here, so this might be a little bit of time. This might take a little bit of time before we figure out just exactly what happened. Where those last set of skid marks even wound up coming from, even to begin with. Oh, here we go. We found the culprit, ladies and gentlemen. We have officially found the culprit. Turn 1 has definitely been a huge trouble spot, and guess what? Zachary Taylor just struck again. I hit the wrong button yet again. But you're going to see right here, Reagan Whitlock currently has the position on Zachary Taylor, and well, Taylor gets into the corner a little bit deeper and gets into the right rear of the 9 of Reagan Whitlock and sends her and himself into the tire barrier. But actually, Whitlock shot back up in front of the 85 as she wound up hitting the tire barrier, but that right there, ooh, and almost sent her over. You saw that 9 get jacked up into the air just a little bit. But that is what I believe those are all the incidents that wound up taking place here at the Watkins Glen International. Dude, it has just absolutely been chaotic here later in the going in this event. But Taylor has definitely been driving with it and driving the wheels off his car and literally taking the wheels off of others in the process. Almost did it with Reagan Whitlock. Almost sent her car up into the air, but thankfully we didn't quite see a blowover for the 9 machine of Reagan Whitlock. But by the end of it all, we saw Bruno Diacomo go to victory lane for the first time here in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series here at the Watkins Glen International. And it's Appalachia Motorsports' first wins of the season, if you will. So big congratulations to Bruno Diacomo on scoring his first Pepsi Cup Series win, and big congratulations to Appalachia Motorsports for accomplishing the same goal. Thank you guys a lot for watching, and thank you so much for watching this race here at the Watkins Glen International. In 2 weeks' time, October 18th, we'll be at the Ricky Raceway just outside of the country over in Canada for the Maple Leaf 500. That one's going to be pretty fun. If you guys like this, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't considered subscribing, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much is going to do it for us. One more time, congratulations to Bruno Diacomo on scoring the win. And keep an eye on those point standings in the WRLA Discord when this premiere concludes. Have yourselves a great rest of your night, everybody. Great day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. Take care, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time at Ricky Raceway.